Hello and welcome back to Gapeys Garden. We are finally getting close to finishing getting the garden planted. I've just got a few things left to go, but all of our peppers are in the ground as of this past week, which is pretty exciting. Well, I should say almost all of them. I've got a couple of them here that I have not planted. We've got our Neen Fedora here. This is a variegated variety that the slugs seem to enjoy the most, but I've got a little bit of damage on there, so I kind of put it up on the shelf so that they couldn't get to it. But I haven't decided where I'm going to plant that one yet. And then I've also got our ricotta pepper here. So our ricotta is growing kind of strangely, and I think the slugs like this one as well because we've got some damage on some of those leaves. But I'm not sure where I'm going to plant this yet, but I may end up topping it because it's growing really long branches. But I'll probably plant this outside the greenhouse someplace. Anyway, almost everything is in, and I thought I would give you a little tour of how the garden's looking at the end of May. I'm going to start here in the greenhouse where almost all of our peppers are, and I just planted the peppers in here in the last week or so. So it's kind of late getting them in the ground, but the weather's been kind of crappy, and also I've been super busy. We are getting a bit of pest damage on our peppers. It's either slugs or pill bugs. I haven't figured out which it is, but I did put some Sluggo Plus down in hopes of taking care of that problem. But there seems to be more of them here on this side of the greenhouse than the other. I've got all of the jalapenos and Mexican varieties here on the left side. I've got 12 of those planted, and I did about 20-inch spacing this year. And the other side of the greenhouse, we've got all of our annuums and a couple of Chinense varieties. And then I've also got a couple of tomatoes in here. So this one is called Mountain Flare. It's a beefsteak tomato, so it probably takes a little bit longer growing season. So that's why I've got it in the greenhouse. And then on this side, we've got one called Save a Prayer, and that is a heart variety by Bill Yoder. I'm growing a ton of tomato varieties from him, so I'm looking forward to all those. And then I just wanted to show you how tiny and puny this little pepper is. So this one came from a friend. It's called Yummy. Never actually heard of that, but it's supposed to be a sweet pepper. So hopefully that comes around. But yeah, it's looking pretty sad right now. I had a similar pepper that looked like this last year, and it ended up producing really well. So hopefully that one improves. But all the other peppers are looking really good, and some of them are actually even starting to set pods. I'll do a full pepper update here in a few weeks, but just wanted to show you a couple. Here's the shishito. We got a baby there. And then, let's see, we have the Korean gochu also has a little baby pepper on it. We've got all of our fig trees out here. I've got well over 40 different fig trees, and I'm probably going to be selling a few. I did sell one earlier this year at my plant sale. I'll do a full fig update here in probably in June and show you how all the Breba figs are doing. But yeah, we've got a lot of figs. And then here is the sea kale. So the sea kale is still flowering, and it's actually starting to set some seeds. So that is one of the seeds there. So the flowering is just about done. I really haven't seen still much pollinators on here. There's actually a fly back black there on one of the flowers. I mentioned in my sea kale video that flies seem to like the flowers, but I haven't seen any bees on it, which continues to be the case. Now here in this bed, we've got all of our larger size tomatoes. So I've got several paste tomatoes and beefsteak tomatoes over here in this bed. And I've interplanted some flowers. So we've got like calendula here. This one is a straw flower. We've got some endive also here, some kale, and then some more lettuces. I've also got a zinnia. This one is the precious metal zinnia from Floret Flowers, and that's one of my favorites. More kale, and then we've also got some marigolds. So I haven't fully finished planting out this bed. I'm going to be planting some melons and cucumbers in here as well. So we've got some bare spots. I've also got my beans to plant. This one here, this is a flowering, or almost about to flower, garlic, which is a cross between a garlic and a leek. And then I think this is a scallion that's just gone to flower. We've got our eggplants in this bed. We've got 3 of those planted. We have celery, 3 of those, and then some more lettuces. I've got 1 pepper in this bed. This one is the Peppa Peach Stripey. I didn't really have room for it in the greenhouse, and I didn't want to plant it too close to my tangerine tigers because I don't want it to cross-pollinate. Let me show you where I ended up putting my tangerine tigers. So I've got 3 tangerine tigers, and they are right over here. This one is the tangerine tiger yellow, and then this one is tangerine tiger number 4 from Craig Jennings. I grew that last year and saved seeds. And then this is the tangerine tiger number 38 from Craig Jennings. Also saved seeds from that. So they're at, like, I think F6 or 7 now. The rest of our tomatoes are in this bed. We've got all of our cherry tomatoes and a few dwarf varieties. These 2 are some Bill Yoder dwarfs called Little Red Corvette in 1999. They're from his Prince collection. All of the Bill Yoder varieties are named after 80s music, so it's kind of fun. But almost all of my cherry tomatoes are from Bill Yoder. I think the only one that isn't might be, actually, I think all the rest of these in this bed are. I've got a couple in the other bed that are long storing varieties that are not Bill Yoder ones, but I think pretty much all of the ones in here are. Oh, this is the only one that's not. So this is I thought it was a micro dwarf, but it apparently is not a micro dwarf, so I decided to plant it over here. And this one is called Flora Gold, so that's the only one in this bed that's not from Bill Yoder. Also in this bed, we've got a couple of kales. These are kaleidoscope kales that overwintered, and surprisingly, they did not go to flower yet. So we've got that one there, and then another one over here. They're actually looking really good. This one looks like it might be trying to flower, but it hasn't just yet. Oh, we've also got some zucchinis in here. This one is called Safari, which is an F1 hybrid. I've not grown before. And then we've got another one over here. This one is a yellow zucchini. For some reason, the original leaves are turning yellow, but the new leaves that are coming out look to be nice and green. We've got some more garlic that we're growing here. So I've got a row of that, I think a dozen or so of those. And then lots of space here for some other plantings. I'll probably do some bush beans in here maybe. And then this bolting overwintered radicchio is going to be coming out of here soon. This is going to go to the chickens in the next day or so. On this raised bed, we've got some more kale. I think this is also a kaleidoscope kale. And a lot of overwintered bolting spinach. So all this spinach is going to be coming out of here soon and going to the chickens. I haven't decided what I'm going to be planting in that space. I might do the pole beans here, but I'm not sure yet. We've got some more spinach. This one is a later planted spinach that I planted this spring, so it has not bolted yet. And then I've got a whole bunch of lettuces back there as well. And also in this bed, we've got our onions. So I've got, I think, at least four different varieties of onions that I planted kind of late at the beginning of this month. And it looks like we've got some purslane coming up in here, which a lot of people consider a weed. And this I think this is actually probably bindweed. We've got a lot of bindweed issues in the garden, and it's impossible to get rid of. This is our golden raspberry bed. We are looking really good. We're starting to get, looks like some flowers. Buds are starting to come out on here, but I chopped these all the way down to the ground in early spring, and they are growing back pretty quickly. We've got some volunteer nasturtium here coming up. That's the gleam salmon, one of my favorites. So I let it volunteer every year, and it usually fills out this corner of the bed. We've got some rhubarb here coming up in our blueberry patch. This isn't really the best place for it, but I haven't figured out where to move it to, so I just keep letting it grow and pruning it back if it gets too big. Our blueberries here are looking okay, not doing as well as they did last year. Last year was a really huge bumper crop of blueberries, but this one, I don't know, especially this one here, this is looking almost mostly dead. This is, I think, an older blueberry, so I might end up replacing this one with a new variety, but a lot of that is looking pretty dead. I don't know what's going on there. But we just finished mulching this bed last week with some new mulch from our wood chipper at the new house. And then this bed is our asparagus, and we've harvested, this is probably our biggest asparagus harvest yet. But I did let a few grow, as you can see. But we're still getting a few of these coming out. Like this one here is a fairly new one that just recently came out. I've also got some sweet peas growing. Oh, here's another new asparagus popping up. But yeah, we direct sowed some sweet peas in here that are just starting to come up, and they will be climbing up the asparagus. Got some lettuce kind of growing in there as well. And then on the other side, I had some mint in this bed, but I pretty much pulled it all out because it was getting out of control, and I had a bunch of different varieties in here, and they all got mixed together, and I kind of gave up on it. But we've got some scallions in the back there, lettuces or endive here. This one is an overwintered kale that I'll be pulling out soon. And then this is our lemon balm. And I mentioned I'll do a fig update, but I just wanted to give you a quick look at our in-ground Latarula fig. It is looking stunning. We've got tons of figs on here, so I'm pretty excited for those to start ripening, and we need to figure out how we can keep the birds away from them. Now the last raised bed is over here next to our compost bins. This is where all the garlic is. I planted a lot less garlic this year because it seems like I always plant way too much. So we've only got 2, 4, 5 rows of garlic, and I think I've got 4 varieties, but we're just starting to see some scapes coming out on the hardneck variety, at least this purple glazer one. We've also got Carpathian here, but that one doesn't have any scapes yet. We've got some lettuce in here, and also I planted some cabbage in here. So this is the first time I've grown this cabbage. It's a Napa variety. And then we've got our purple peas that I grew last season growing in this bed, and they're starting to come up. And then we've got our volunteer potatoes in the rest of this bed. We also have a volunteer calendula that has popped up in this bed, or on the side of this bed. It's not actually in the bed, but it's a really pretty variety, lots of petals on the flowers. The last section we have is our in-ground bed. This is where I always plant either corn or potatoes, and I think I planted corn last year. So this year I decided no corn and that it was just going to be potatoes, and I've got a few squashes that are looking really good. I just planted these squashes the other day, and it looks like they've already grown quite a bit. But this is our delicata, and I've got a couple of varieties of butternut in there. We've got lots of volunteer potatoes. I think that one there is a volunteer, but I also saved some potatoes last year and planted some of those in here as well. That big bushy thing in the middle is a coneflower. So that actually volunteered in here several years ago, and I just decided to keep it in here. We had 2 dahlias that I grew from seed in here for several years, and this one has come back. This one is a pink variety, but I had an orange one that was over here, and it did not make it. I've still got some of the tubers here, but they just pretty much rotted out and got, too much water or moisture or whatever, but it did not make it. So I just pulled those out last week because they weren't growing, and I had other stuff I wanted to plant in here. So we've got a couple of amaranths, and then our dwarf Uluru okra tomato is there. I'm probably going to put a cage around it eventually. We'll see, but I don't think that will get too big. And then each corner of this bed has a sunflower. So I've got mostly the Van Gogh Fantasy Mix. I've got 3 of those. And then I think it's this corner here. I've got a different one. This one is the Pro Cut White. So the Pro Cut varieties do not get pollen on the flowers, so they're really good for flower arrangements and vases. And then we've got a ton, as you can see, of cilantro in here. It's pretty much taking over this bed. We've got some more flowers in here. This is the celosia. So I had a really tough time with celosia last year. It just did not grow well for me. and I learned that it does not like being root bound. So I was sure to pot it up earlier this year, and it looks much, much better. But they're starting to get some flowers there. We've got more squashes here. There's our sunflower. And then our cosmos are also all in this back section. So we've got 4 different varieties of cosmos, and a few volunteer lettuces have popped up in here as well. So that is pretty much everything that's growing in the garden. Just a few more things to plant. Like I mentioned, the cucumbers, the melons, and the beans are pretty much all that's left. But I hope you've got your garden planted and you're off to a good start. It's been pretty cool here. We had 90 degrees yesterday, but that was kind of an anomaly, and it's back to cool, rainy weather today. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.